All right, Green Bay had $49 million in cap space, so a little bit to work with here as far as able to get big contracts on here. I'll start with a smaller signing, Malcolm Kuntz, defensive end. He's been with the Raiders his entire career. He's an injury plagued edge rusher. So I think this is more of a rotational guy. Obviously, Gary hasn't really done what we thought. And then Lucas Van Ness on the other side really hasn't either. So I think just adding to the room instead of trading for the big one, I would just do this because the next I'll pair these two. I think you go sign cornerback DJ Reed and you go sign quarterback Russell Douglas. DJ Reed will take over the Jair Alexander drama. That's over. Cut Jair. Get a nice, reliable corner, DJ Reed, and then you bring back Douglas, who was there when he had his like reemergence into stardom. I think last year Keyshawn Nixon got exposed a lot. So you bring in Douglas, you bring in DJ Reed, you fix that secondary. And the defense was already good last year. So that secondary kind of got picked apart there a little bit. So I think addressing these two cornerback spots here will definitely pair them with McKinney there. I think this is a makings of a very, very good secondary. And then I'll just put it all together. Trade for
Yeah.
DK Metcalf. Yeah.
Well, before we get to DK Metcalf, that's a massive
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Defensive wise, I think DJ Reed is fantastic. I called him to the Packers as soon as I saw him on the free agency list. I think it's a great fit. I think it's what you're looking for. What Jay Alexander, they'd hoped he'd be. I think he's going to get paid. I think you better be ready to pay him. I think he's going to get a massive contract. I think he's going to be the top paid cornerback in this free agency class. But I think he's worth every dime. Russell Douglas did struggle last year, but maybe he goes back to Green Bay where it's worked before and he's familiar. Maybe there's a eventual transition into safety because he is a big body guy. Kuntz, honestly, I don't like it. It's just uninspiring to me. Like it's just, I think if they sign Malcolm Kuntz and that's all they do for the pass rush, like I'm just a little deflated by that. Like I don't know if it's enough. What do you think, Terrell?
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm the guy I like right now. Who I think again I brought him up earlier with Chicago, or not Chicago. I can't remember who we talked about first, but who did we talk about first?
Detroit.
I like Hassan Reddick. I think this is another fit here for someone who can get after the passer who needs a bounce back year. So I like instead of Malcolm Kuntz, I do like Hassan Reddick in that spot. But DJ Reed, that's a perfect fit there. Rasul Douglas, again, struggled a little bit last year, but the other guy I just mentioned with Minnesota that they need to re-sign, but if they can't pay him and decide to go with Cam Bynum, then Byron Murphy. That's the guy they need to try to throw the bag at. So, but I think for as far as their DBs, it's Byron Murphy or Cam Bynum, and so I think if Byron Murphy's available, that's the guy to go get. But
Byron Murphy's gonna be the second place Plan B guy because he's so good, but so is DJ Reed. There's a lot of good corners this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing the contract numbers. And Douglas struggled last year, but I think next to DJ Reed, and then in a system where he's familiar with, in a town and a pack of culture where he's familiar with, obviously, because they traded him when they thought that they were gonna be a bad team when they had Jordan Love struggling in his first year and for starting, and he finished out the year strong. And it was kind of I wish we didn't trade him situation. So they kind of right that wrong, bring him back here. That's my move. And then my last move was trading for DK Metcalf. They are in desperate need for a wideout one. DK Metcalf solves a lot of problems for them. Gives them an alpha, a big body wideout, something that they don't have had ever since like the last big name wideout was Devontae Adams, and it felt like a lifetime ago. So I think trading for him. I'm not sure. So I gave him a first round pick this year, in this exercise. But I think in this scenario, if you were to trade for DK Metcalf, they would lose that first round pick, obviously. But for the sake of this argument, I'll give them both. DK Metcalf, trade him over to Green Bay in the last year of his deal over there in Seattle. They love JSN there. Maybe they're just trying to redo the whole wideout room. This is a very nice wideout class. So I think you bring DK Metcalf there, solves that wideout one problem. Then everything falls into place after that. You start getting your big three: your Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, and DK Metcalf.
I don't see DK Metcalf going for a first. I don't see them giving a first round draft pick for him. I think he's a good pickup, but I don't think that makes sense for Green Bay.
Wow.
But I do think they need to get more veteran. They need to get veteran receivers, and I think they need to go with a veteran receiver. I think is a safer pick as far as like either trading or signing. I think either sign Stephon Diggs or you trade for Tyreek Hill. But I think you definitely get. I like going first with signing Stephon Diggs. He's coming off of an injury. He definitely needs to prove it. Prove a deal, prove a contract. But I think he's someone who could take the top off, and he's a veteran receiver. I think that's the first guy they need to go and try to sign at receiver. But if we're going to trade, I think you got to trade for Tyreek, because I don't think you have to give up a first round pick for him.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I love DK Metcalf here. I love DK Metcalf on the Packers. I think Jordan Love's willingness to just throw it up definitely gets him in trouble. But I think more times than not, Metcalf is gonna pay that off. I think that's something that Geno Smith or whatever quarterback they've had over in Seattle has not been willing to do. And I think Geno Smith less than Russell Wilson, but I like him there. I think he would have a chance to really turn into the receiver that we always hoped he'd be with Jordan Love at the helm. And I think what it does for the rest of the receiver core too is underrated, because it would slot everyone else in to the spot they're supposed to be. So you no more, well, who's going to be the number one this week? Well, maybe it's Romeo Doubs. Let's pretend Romeo Doubs is our number one. Let's pretend Christian Watson. We're going to build a game plan around him. That hasn't worked. None of those guys can step into that role. I think you put someone like DK Metcalf. I also do like Tyreek Hill as well. I think that's another great fit. Maybe even a better fit because he is going to be cheaper, just not as long-term of a solution. But I do like DK Metcalf here, and I'm out on Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs' days of being an impact receiver on a good team are 2 or 3 years behind him. Like, he's done. Cooked.
Yeah. And then just to finish off, I'm doing what the Packers always do. They draft an offensive lineman who's a versatile offensive lineman. Offensive lineman Josh Simmons. He was hurt last year in the injury, but he could play both tackles and both guards. So I think that's exactly what the Packers do. They always get guards or a lineman who can play everywhere. I think he'll go there, fit right in. And the Packers always are. It's a right guard and center this year. That's the kind of question mark. So that he could play right guard, center. I'm not sure, but right guard probably, yeah. So I have him draft from there because the Packers draft linemen.